After turning their season around and pretty much saving his job, Nico Kovac is not out of trouble just yet. That's what I'll be discussing in the next few minutes as I bring you a potential starting 11 for Bayern Munich next season. First off, let's start with the goalkeeper as always, and it's going to be Manuel Neuer. It seems like the goalkeepers are a pretty set decision these days. You've always got one who's just world class. Sane did okay job filling in for Neuer when he's been injured in the last few years, but when the goalkeeper starts, as long as he's at the club, he will be number one. Coming through the youth academy is Christian Fruchtel, who looks like a good prospect for the future, but as mentioned before, it will definitely be Neuer. Now into the right back spot, and you're going to be asking me about a potential name, but fear not, Joshua Kimmich comes up later on in the video. For the right back spot, I'm going to go for their new signing from Stuttgart, Benjamin Pavada. Now the French World Cup winner did move for around 35 million euros this summer after a pretty crazy 12 months. He's gone from winning the World Cup with France last summer to being relegated with Stuttgart from the Bundesliga this season, and then moving to Bayern Munich. He played right back for France, centre back for Stuttgart, and I'm sure his versatility will be key for Bayern Munich, as you'll see is evident with a few more players in this team. But for the moment, I'm sticking with him at right back. To the centre of defence now, and the old rearguard of Hummels and Boateng appears to have cracked just a little bit too much, so the Bayern bosses have had a decision to make. In 2017, Niklas Euler came in from Hoffenheim and has established himself as the number one choice centre back at the club. With Hummels being sent back to Dortmund and Boateng really dipping out of form, it looks like there'll be a new defensive addition alongside Euler in the back line. And that is Lucas Hernandez. For 80 million euros, you expect to find one hell of a player, and much so with Benjamin Pavada, he is a versatile defender who can really help Bayern. Just like with Pavada as well, he was part of the French side that won the World Cup last summer and could play as centre back or left back. I think when it comes to the left back, the choice is pretty obvious, as I'll mention in a moment, so I think he's going to slot in at centre half alongside Niklas Euler. There is also a case for Javi Martinez to fill in that role, but he often splits his time between centre-back and defensive midfield, and I'm not sure he's going to be starting in either. So on to the left-back spot now, and of course, it's going to be David Alaba. He's been there so long and been so consistent that Bayern Munich don't really need to go and sign anyone else. They probably do if they're going to want competition for Alaba, but at the moment they don't have anyone, having sold Juan Bernat to PSG a year ago. As for Alaba, it's probably good that he hasn't got any competition, because if he does get injured or dip out of form, he'll be given a chance to regain it straight back into the team. They are looking at the potential of Alphonso Davies moving from left wing to left wing back, but I don't think he's going to be challenging Alaba for the spot anytime soon. So with the defence over and done with Pavard, Euler, Hernandez and Alaba, now's a good time to let you know to hit that subscribe button, because we're getting onto the more interesting parts of the video, and also you can stay up to date with all the other videos we've got going on Onefootball. Just down there, hit the subscribe button. But with that said and done, let's move into the midfield, and now I can finally bring Joshua Kimmich into the equation. Now, he was definitely the best right back in European football last season. I'm not having any of it. Okay, maybe Trent Alexander-Arnold's up there as well. But Kimmich, what he can bring to the side is just so much skill in so many different positions. When he originally joined from Leipzig, he was more of a defensive midfielder. He then took over from Philipp Lahm. That's a pretty difficult job, and made it his own, the right back spot at Bayern Munich. Last season, he just showed what a player he is. When it comes to playing in the centre of midfield, he's got brilliant vision and can definitely pick out a pass, as we've seen with his 13 assists from right back last season. He's got all the pace and athleticism of a fullback, and he can read the game brilliantly with maturity far ahead of his years. It's no wonder that he's been tipped to be the future captain of Bayern and the German national team. At 24 years old, I can see him being moved into the centre and having much more of an impact from the overall game. It's here he'll hold the base of the Bayern Munich midfield, while the rest of the brilliantly talented players go and do all of the attacking. Again, Javi Martinez is brought into the equation here, but I'm sure he cannot expect to play that many minutes if someone as talented as Joshua Kimmich is ahead of him in central defensive midfield. What this versatility does bring is that if he stays and sits with the two centre-backs, they can transform into a three-man defence, push the two wing-backs on in Pavard and Alaba, and really push the opposition back. So once they've moved all these players forward, are they going to get the ball? Of course they are, because they're going to be fed by Thiago. There is probably not a better passer in terms of technique and vision within Europe. There's players that can rival him, but I just don't see anyone who can join him. Maybe Kevin De Bruyne is up there as well. What Thiago brings is such a brilliant outlook on the game from so deep. He's the one who keeps feeding the ball forwards, and that's why Bayern scores so many goals. It's no wonder when Pep Guardiola joined the team, he said that it was Thiago or nothing in terms of transfers. That just shows you how important he is to the side. The whole team is being built around the Spaniard, and even though he has been linked with a move back to Barcelona and potentially to Manchester City when they were looking for a Fernandinho replacement, it looks like his future is at Bayern Munich. The other option for Thiago in the centre midfield is Corentin Tolisso, who is a pretty decent player, but I'm just not quite sure he's at Thiago's level. He could, of course, play extra minutes whenever the squad is rotated or there are injuries, and he's a brilliant player to have in a very, very thin Bayern squad. Of course, there's also Renato Sanchez, but his spell at Bayern Munich has been pretty nightmarish. Since joining from Benfica, he's gone on loan to Swansea, which was terrible, and now he's even admitted that he wants to leave the club, but Bayern aren't willing to let him go just yet because, as I mentioned, they literally haven't even got a full matchday squad. So with Kimmich and Thiago in the midfield, there's room for one more player, and I'm going to give that to Leon Goretzka. Now, he signed on a free from Schalke and really showed how good he is both defensively and offensively. He's got the physicality to make him a nightmare in either box and great box-to-box energy. He appeared in all but 4 Bundesliga games and scored 8 goals last season for Bayern as they won the title yet again. If they want to go in a more attacking style and sniff out a goal, then I think this position will go to Thomas Müller as more of an attacking midfielder, a number 10, let's say. But I just don't see how in a 4-3-3 formation that he'll be able to fit in, and here's why. This is because Müller's not really a central midfielder like the Goretzka, Kimmich and Thiago 3 are, but he's not also an exciting attacking winger. When it comes to the likes of Serge Gnabry, he's been absolutely brilliant. He was even voted the fans player of the season. He's got the skill to beat a man, he's got the pace to get him behind, and this is something Müller just does not have. As mentioned before, if they're looking to sniff out a goal or they want a fox in the box, Müller can definitely provide that, but I don't see him starting when all players are fit and they've got their best 11 on the pitch. After being sold from Arsenal a few years ago and maybe not being at the top of the game, he has come on leaps and bounds and now is definitely part of Nico Kovac's plan A. It doesn't look like they'll be getting Callum Hudson-Odoi, but they might be bringing in Celta Vigo's Brais Mendes. For 25 million, which is his release clause, they're getting a versatile player, as has been consistent throughout this team with the likes of Pavada, Kimmich and Lucas Hernandez, but I'm not so sure that Mendes will be the starting player. He's another guy to come in, help the squad, and they'll probably win the title again, but he's not going to overtake the likes of Serge Gnabry. So with Gnabry on the right-hand side, the left-hand side is a bit more of a toss-up as to who's actually going to play. So Arjen Robben on the right-hand side is left. Frank Ribery's also gone. It doesn't look like they were going to be signing Callum Hudson-Odoi. Kingsley Coman is brilliant but can't stay off the injury table, so why not move for Leroy Sané? Now I know this move has a long way to go just yet because Manchester City want a hell of a lot of money for the German, around 100 million. But Pep Guardiola has said that if a player isn't happy, then they're free to go because he doesn't want unhappy negative players in the squad. This is where Bayern Munich can swoop in. Now it just fits. It really just makes sense that the best German players play for the best German club. I'm sure Dortmund fans are going to have something to say about that, but Bayern Munich historically and just regularly are the best team in Germany. They're winning most of the trophies all the time, so it makes sense that Sane would go and join them as a fantastic left winger. At Manchester City, he had to compete with Raheem Sterling for that spot, and let's be honest, after last season, Raheem Sterling is winning that hands down. As mentioned before, there is the youngster Alphonso Davies from Canada, but he's going to have some way to go to overtake the likes of Sane or even Kingsley Coman in the side. If he does get moved to a fullback, he's going to be competing with David Alaba, but I can't see him starting at all at the moment. This means that with Gnabry on the right and Leroy Sané on the left, we have one more spot to fill, and it's the central striking role. Jan Fiete Arp, the new man, has said that he's looking forward to training with Bayern Munich and learning from the best, that being Robert Lewandowski. The 19-year-old knows that he's going to be sitting behind Robert Lewandowski, but needs to make the most of his chances when given them in the first team. What he can do, though, is sit on the side and watch the goal-scoring masterclass that is Lewandowski. The Polish forward briefly flirted with Real Madrid last summer, but now it looks like he's settled on Bayern Munich and he'll continue to bang in the goals and become a club legend. Of course, let me know all your thoughts in the comment section below about who should have been starting, who definitely should not be starting, and which other transfers you guys would bring in. Whilst you're down there, you can also smash the like button. But until next time, I will see you guys later.